Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third game that I am covering out of the G.O.D. Pogchamps 2 chess tournament. This is a game between me, highest rated player in the tournament, playing with white, and Rubio, second highest rated tournament. Wow, English, guys. Second highest rated player in the tournament, Rubio. So number one versus number two right here. Um, I do come out on top here, but it was a very interesting game. Not many mistakes were made. It's just very, very minimal mistakes. And overall, we both played very well. And it was just really, yeah, it was a great game. So we're going to see how this unfolded. So here I played e4. I was debating on what I should play because before the game, Rubio was like, I have something special prepared to beat you with. I was like, oh no, because Rubio's openings are particularly annoying. And I had prepared against what I thought he was going to play because I know that he usually plays the Sicilian with some kind of accelerated dragon setup. So my plan was I have some secret opening prep that I'm not going to reveal all of, but if he were to go c5, I was going to go knight c3, like the normal closed Sicilian, which is what I play. He would play knight c6, and rather than g3, which is what I normally play, since I know he's probably going to go g6 with the accelerated dragon style, I will play d3, with the idea that when he goes g6, I'm going to play bishop e3, and it's interesting. I don't want to reveal too much about things, but I definitely like the positions that come out of it. So that's what I thought was going to happen. But he played e6, so I was thinking, okay, he's playing the French. I've recently been looking at a new weapon against the French, which is queen e2, the Horwitz variation. I just probably come over here to this. Oh, Horwitz, Chigarin. No, Horwitz is the thing I used to play, which is b3. This is the Horwitz variation, which also I believe is what Rubio plays against the French. Yeah, this is Horwitz variation. It still says Chigarin up here just because that's what actually happened in the game. But yeah, so I played queen e2, the Chigarin variation, with the idea that d5 is the normal French defense move is actually not so good anymore. You probably don't want to actually play d5 because takes this pawn's pinned. Yeah, so Rubio plays b6. So this was what he had been preparing, apparently. He'd been preparing the Gotham chess thingy that Gotham chess plays and has a course on, with e6, b6, and the bishop coming here. I played this, which I think completely threw him off. He was definitely not expecting queen e2, or if he wasn't expecting some of the moves after. I played d3. I just wanted to be solid, reinforce this pawn. Hopefully this bishop wouldn't ever become too powerful. He plays bishop b7, fianchettoing, and I play knight c3. Now this actually looks a little bit like a closed Sicilian type position, except my queen is on c3 for some reason. Also, this c5 obviously didn't get played. So not exactly, but my structure a little bit looks like that. Bishop b4, pinning my knight down to the king. Can take and then double my pawns, so I play bishop d2 to stop him from doubling my pawns. He captures anyway, which I was a little bit surprised about, but I guess I don't know why. I don't think it's a great move because it lets my bishop onto this long diagonal. And yeah, and he loses the bishop pair. Although he has said to me many times before, I don't know how to use bishop pairs. So, he doesn't really care. So I take back. And he plays knight f6. Here, I play f4. the computer just wants me to go right after it with g4, and just try and. Oh my god, yeah. Alright, looking at the lines, it's like saying some crazy stuff. I guess saying like something with like g4 and maybe h4 in the future, and then just pawn storming, which would have been fun, but I didn't want to commit too much since Rubio still had the option of eventually castling queenside, and I didn't want to like destroy my kingside yet. So I played f4, which again, just making it look a little bit more similar, I guess. I don't know. I just wanted to grab space in the center. And yeah. d5. Here, I probably should have played the computer move, which is castling queenside. Would have made a lot more sense. But I played e5, which isn't the worst thing ever, but it does. I overlooked d4 and the value of that move because I figured, whatever. I don't really care. But because I just completely overlooked d4. Like, I was expecting knight e2 or like, oh, no, knight e2. Where'd that come from? Knight d7, I was expecting. And yeah, I was planning to just like play d4, maybe here, and just like, cut off the king from castling or try. Actually, no, I wasn't going to play here because then c5 was going to come. But d4 was played. I took the knight. I was thinking of bringing my bishop. I was seeing like where I could put my bishop instead. I could have gone here. No, I could not have gone there, but I was thinking of going there, which isn't very good because, I get locked out. And he has this nice pawn chain, so I didn't want to do that. And I was thinking about bishop to d2, but I still didn't like it because of that pawn chain that could have been formed eventually, especially after like maybe bringing the knight back here or bringing the knight here, getting like a pretty decent position. So I didn't like that. So I just took the knight, took the bishop, took the pawn, puts the rook in front of the pawn, obviously, to stop it from promoting. And I take back on c3. I'm now up a pawn, but I do have doubled pawns, which are hard to defend. And Rubio has this very strong bishop. Well, I'm up 2 pawns, but like really, how am I going to hang on to that pawn? I don't want to hang on to that pawn. As far as I'm concerned, that pawn can just, be gone. So the computer evaluates this as equal because of the weaknesses in my position and the strength of Rubio's bishop over here. Rubio plays queen f6, targeting this, and this. So I play the only logical move, or at least as far as I'm concerned. Queen e5. Rubio takes the queen, I take back, and then he takes on g7. I then play knight f3. Looking back, no, this is fine. I mean, it's not terrible. It's next. All right, so after knight d7, what I wanted here, so I played king f2, inviting Rubio. This actually would have given him an advantage, but I invited Rubio to take my knight, so then I would take back, and then he would take this, and then we would have equal material. What I just wanted this bishop gone. I did not want it around anymore. It was too powerful for me to want it to be there. I just wanted it gone. But he did not take. Like, yeah, in retrospect, I probably should have just played d4 because that was a little more solid. But anyway, Rubio castles queenside. And here, I did now play d4 because that was kind of a thing. It wasn't the best move. It says I should have brought my rook over, but I wanted my rook to stay over here, so d4 occurred. c5. Yeah, so here I was looking at this and I was like, I don't think c5 would be a great move because I don't know, it just kind of weakens stuff. I was thinking ideas like maybe this, maybe a4, but what I did play was a4, which the computer also says is inaccurate. Oh, by the way, the reason why I didn't like c5 is it just opens up the king so much, like to attacks, which you will see later on. I played a4, and then he played a5, which was another inaccuracy, just a string of 3 inaccuracies right there. But I feel like I took pretty good advantage of this with bishop to b5. Bishop c4 was better, it says. I liked bishop b5 because it had clear-cut ideas of taking and then like taking and just really opening up the position. And, you know, I just liked it. f6, which actually turns out to be the best move. I wasn't quite sure if I was missing something or what. So I just took here, he took back, and then I took there. He goes here, and I go here. Yes, I do realize this is not actually forking their rooks. I know that. They can just take with check. I just wanted to get my knight onto the square. It's a strong outpost square, and it you know, I have a lot of options. I'm controlling a lot of squares in their territory, and I have options of maybe trying to target this, maybe come over here and fork something if this rook ever moves. You know, I've got options. So I liked that knight outpost, and that is what I played. The computer wanted me to just go. I was also contemplating on whether I should just like come over here and immediately target this pawn, but I didn't want to do that. So I play knight e5. Rubio takes the pawn on f6, and I play king e3. Best move, just, you know, bring my king closer to the center, also protecting this pawn. Rubio takes, I take back, and then he plays rook c7. The computer wanted him to play rook c7 a little bit earlier. Instead of taking here, he should have played rook c7, says the computer. But now rook c7, it kind of just doesn't... He's targeting the wrong pawn. Because what he needed to do to keep the position equal, like the reason why it's equal right now is because he can target this pawn and win it, pretty much. Or at least my position is weak enough where I don't have too big of an advantage. So rook g8 needed to happen to target this pawn. It did not occur in the game. He went after the wrong pawn, went after the c2 pawn. So rook c7, and it allows me to just push c4. And this rook, it's not really going anywhere over here. So that move was just a little bit like a waste of tempo. And now he takes on g2. So 2 mistakes in a row generally do not end well for anybody, ever. So I just play rook g1. And then he plays bishop back to c6, which was the best move. And then I play rook a, b1. I still have a large advantage, but I should have played the other rook to b1 because I would maintain protection of a4. But I chose not to do that. That was my only mistake of the game. And it didn't matter anyway because Rubio responded with another mistake. Instead of taking on a4, and just letting me take this pawn, he instead moved his king to b7, which walks right into this pin. And after c5, Rubio responds with bishop takes a4. I mean, I don't really know what else could have been played there. Computer says this. I think that's a really hard move to even imagine playing since you're just letting this rook take. But I also looked at this just to see what I would do if this was played. B5. Yeah. But all that I saw, it was all good. So Rubio took on A4 though. I captured here. King A7, then Rook A1, threatening to, if he does move this bishop, mate. So he has to defend. Rook B7, making a space for his king over here. I take the bishop, which the computer says is good. It wanted me to just take the rook. But what I saw was after rook takes, pawn takes, king takes, and then knight here, forking. Everything is simplified down, and after, this is where Rubio resigned in this position. So that's where the game ended, but it would have continued. King D7. Oh, wait, King D7. Where am I getting these from? King B5. My rook will go here, pick up the only outside passed pawn that Rubio had. He has to capture the rook. I capture this rook. And this is clearly winning. So that is the game. And yeah. So if we go back, really this game was fine. Everybody was okay up until right here when the mistakes started happening. But otherwise, a very well played game by both of us. Rubio made just a couple more mistakes than me, but this is the highest accuracy game that we've had in the tournament thus far. Both of us almost. I'm at 92.5. He's at 88.9. Almost both at 90. Yeah. So that is what happened. And this is like whatever these are, best move differential, average difference. These are all good numbers. Playing the best move pretty often. Yeah. It's a great game by both of us, and I look forward to playing him again and maybe winning. I don't know. It's hard to beat. It's not easy. Yeah. Adios. Oh wait, I gotta do the outro thing. Alright, so you better subscribe and click on this video in the thing because I said so. Just kidding, I don't care. But if you wanna subscribe. Okay, yeah. Subscribe for more chess content and watch this video if you care. Bye.